said that the day following the elections, he said, India was a different place at 6 a.m. the day after the election results. And so he said, there is a great desire now to participate in India's growth. There were others who said that they wanted accelerated engagement in India. There were some others who felt that they had capacities, for example, where they can create wealth from waste in terms of energy, solid waste, etc. Of course, there were others who also did express their views and concerns on current policies and environment. For example, there were several who did mention about need for a stable tax regime. And Prime Minister did assure them that he himself was committed to a tax regime which is stable, and he had said that he repeatedly has clarified that there is no intention to not, because it is his conviction that a stable tax regime is a necessary requirement for investment to flow. There was, for example, another request about coal blocks, those who were interested in the energy sector. And they said that changes of the sort with Supreme Court judgments, etc. So the Prime Minister's view was that he wanted to convert the judgment of the Supreme Court on coal allocation into a major opportunity to move forward and clean up the past. He said that the government was studying the judgment. He understood the concerns that some of those investors raised about such matters. He said they were also examining the old rules and also transparency aspects which were highlighted in the Supreme Court's judgment. As far as he was concerned, his first priority was India's energy requirements, and taking that into consideration, they can expect quick decisions from the government on this. He said that they are considering a series of options, including possible auction, possibly public-private partnerships, or else public sector mining organizations working on this matter. So there were a whole host of options that they were considering at this stage. That's about his discussions with CEOs. He had 11 for breakfast, and then they were followed by individual meetings. I meant 11 those who were at the breakfast table, and there were others who were, as you know, Prime Minister didn't have any breakfast, so he couldn't have 11 of them. That said, there were others who followed in terms of individuals who had investments in India or were planning investments. In the context of that discussions, Prime Minister did invite BlackRock Corporation, and they had agreed to have a major investor conference in India early next year, where they would work with the government of India to bring in major investors from all across the globe. And they expected that, based on their experience of similar conferences in the past, they expected that the first effort of this sort would have investment opportunities of something in the vicinity of 6 billion if they work towards it in the next few months. Following these interactions with business, Prime Minister had a very warm and cordial interaction with former President Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Prime Minister was joined by the External Affairs Minister during this interaction. The photos are available for you to see the warmth of and affection between them. I will try and say some of the things that were raised in that and give you some quotes of what President Clinton and Mrs. Clinton mentioned about. For example, when President Clinton, when he came, among the first thing he said that I am thrilled, I am extremely excited since you were elected. And then he said in his assessment, no one had the knowledge or the votes before you to build a national economy and national infrastructure, and therefore he was extremely excited about the prospects for India, with the Prime Minister now having a majority as well as a track record which he had proved in his previous stint. In the discussions with President Clinton and Mrs. Clinton, largely these were related to the initiatives of the Clinton Foundation in India. And these covered a very broad spectrum, including supply chain management issues, including diagnostic testing possibilities in India, solar energy. Yes, and Prime Minister on his part raised the issue of sickle cell anemia, which he is very concerned has affects certain parts of India in certain tribes. So he felt that if the Clinton Foundation could work on this. He also mentioned his recent visit to Japan, where he had discussed this matter with a leading Nobel laureate, but felt that the Clinton Foundation could also work on this matter. Then there was a fairly long discussion about Prime Minister's efforts to clean up the Ganga, and he explained what was the rationale and how he sees working on this, and requested the Clinton Foundation to consider working on small areas of this. President Clinton said he was extremely delighted on this, but he would like to go back and check where and in what specific area that the Clinton Foundation could work on this. And he said that, I thank you for undertaking the job of cleaning the Ganga. It is a sacred project and a smart approach. And Senator Clinton then added that this effort will send a message to others in Asia, because she felt that there were in several parts of Asia over the years a neglect of major river basins and river